Ah, young love. Combine that with money, prestige, massive expectations, and a little thing like royalty, and everything is bound to get complicated. The new Swedish Netflix drama Young Royals is out now, so should you be watching it? When Prince Wilhelm arrives at his prestigious boarding school, he finally gets an opportunity to explore his true self and find out what kind of life he really wants. He starts dreaming of a future filled with freedom and unconditional love, far away from the royal obligations, but following his heart proves more challenging than anticipated. So admittedly, I'm not really in the target demographic for this drama. It's filled with angst, massive emotions, big drama, and even romance. Wilhelm is really charismatic and makes it fairly easy to root for him. He's a bit brooding, but he's also very sympathetic as he has to navigate the balance of his desires and wishes with the expectations of his position as prince. And while Wilhelm, or Wille as he's called, is the central character, several other players contribute greatly to the story. There's August, the prince's cousin. He's a third year at the school and he tries to help guide Wille through the craziness of school. Felice is smitten with Wille, but he sees her more as a friend. She, like a lot of teenagers, has a strained relationship with her mom, which helps to influence some of her decisions as the story moves along. She also becomes a good friend to another student who doesn't have many friends, Sarah. Now, Sarah has Asperger's and ADHD, so she has some interesting character arcs. She has a great demeanor and can be a fierce friend. And finally, there's Simon. He's Sarah's brother, and he's kind of an outlier at the school because he doesn't actually live at the boarding school. He lives in town and has to ride the bus to classes each day, and this puts him at a disadvantage when it comes to status and even inclusion at school functions. He and Wille hit it off almost instantly and start an intense friendship. This has the potential for a lot of conflict because of Wille's status as prince. So like I said, there's a lot of angst in this series. Characters pine over each other, but in weird triangles where not everyone is reciprocating the emotions. So like for example, Felice may crush on Wille, but August is crushing on Felice, and Wille is not crushing on Felice at all. So then drama ensues. The emotions can run high not only because of the varying crushes going on, but the pressures of appearances and expectations really weigh on our characters. And that's one of the central themes that is explored throughout the show. The most obvious are the expectations that are put on Wille to be an example to the entire country, to also act in a way that honors his position, and the conflict that he feels internally as he tries to figure out who he is and what he wants. But even if he figures those things out, can he even achieve them? We also see expectations placed on Felice and August, but for different and same reasons. They both have a legacy to live up to, but Felice has the immediate pressures from her mom to contend with, while August is trying to maintain his status among peers, even though things may not be as solid as he'd like them to be. Now, outside of the drama in this, the cinematography is beautiful. I loved so many of the framings that are used throughout the show. The main setting is the school, so that's pretty much where everything is focused, but the show manages to capture very cinematic sequences and makes the production feel larger than it is. There are some great landscapes as well as very intimate shots that use natural light to add a warm and soft feeling to the scene. The soundtrack is also really great. While I'm not familiar with almost all of the music, it did work well within the story to augment the narrative. The way the story plays out, it makes it kind of easy to get drawn into the characters, their relationships, and their drama. We get slow but steady character development, which allows us to be pulled into the lives of each of the main players in a way that flows naturally. There are only 6 episodes that are each about 45 minutes. They move fairly quickly, and some of that is due to the increasing drama. Now, there are portions of the narrative that are pretty obvious in their progression. It's not a mystery, so this didn't really bother me, but it was easy to see where several of the story arcs were headed, which did take away a tiny bit of the intrigue. For me, while the story was fairly interesting, it wasn't something that absolutely sucked me into every moment of drama. The acting is done well and the production as a whole is beautiful to watch. And as far as teenage dramas go, this one is loads better than the other Netflix release that came out sometime last year called Tiny Pretty Things. Now, like I said, I'm not really the target demographic for this show, but it wasn't a bad watch for me. I'm interested in seeing where this progresses in another season, but it's also not something that I'm salivating to see. There's sex, maybe some brief nudity, a lot of profanity, and just a little bit of violence. I give Young Royals 3 out of 5 couches. Are there any good dramas you're watching right now? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.